All right, a thread from Brian Cates. To all those asking about Rosenstein, I knew 3 years ago Rosenstein convinced the Spygate plotters when he was dropped into their midst they could trust him and he was their new best buddy, ready to fully participate in everything they told him they were planning. I fully understand a lot of people will never accept what Rosenstein was sent in there to do. Perhaps only watching Rosenstein's testimony for the prosecution at the trials will change their minds. I'm okay with that. I understand people are upset over what happened to Flynn, Stone, Manafort, Cohen, Papadopoulos, and everybody else this goon squad went after. I too am upset about it. There are casualties in war. And this is a war. The takedown of the massive RICO criminal conspiracy by deeply embedded federal officials in multiple countries to launch a coup against a president took precedence over a false statement case. Flynn's case came in second. Trump knew before he ever took office what he was up against. People still peddling you stories that Trump was evilly tricked into blowing what everybody at the time knew would be the most crucial appointment at the Department of Justice, the guy who'd supervise the Russia stuff. They'll never stop. You're supposed to forget everything you actually know about this president and discard it to believe some of these stories. He's tricked into appointing Rod Rosenstein and then sits there whining impotently with his thumb up his ass for 2.5 years while Rosenstein gives it to him hard. Rosenstein was cleared to do two things before he was confirmed in the Senate and sent in there to entrap these people. He was cleared to supervise the plotters inside the DOJ and FBI, and he was cleared to testify against them as a witness later. Barr said this under oath. What would it mean that at the time he was being thoroughly vetted by Trump's team for the Deputy Attorney General job, it was made crystal clear there was no conflict of interest that would prevent Rosenstein from testifying against people he was supervising who broke the law? What would that point to? What was the very first objection Comey, McCabe, and Strzok's lawyers will make in the courtroom when Rosenstein is produced as a witness against them? On what grounds would the Spygate plotters protest it? Senator Kamala Harris brought this up over a year ago. She really thought she was about to prove Rosenstein shouldn't have been allowed to participate in the decision with Barr to discard Mueller's obstruction charge. Barr tells Harris that Rosenstein could participate with him in making the decision to discard Mueller's lame obstruction charge, even though he will be a witness later in legal proceedings against these people he was supervising because he was sent in there to entrap them all in the first place. The moment Rosenstein shows up in court, the Spygate plotters are going to scream. He shouldn't be allowed to testify against them because he was their boss, and he was supervising them when they did the things for which they are on trial. Sounds like a good objection, right? Do you know what a government informant is? I used the word entrap earlier. Let me clarify. There is a difference between false entrapment, which they did to Flynn, and real entrapment, when you're sending an informant into a crime already in progress. People keep saying it was Rosenstein's job to go in there and stop these plotters in their tracks, to break it all up, etc. Wrong. That's not what an informant does. He is there to record who did what. This Spygate coup started well before Rosenstein was dropped in there in the middle of it on April 25th, 2017. Understand, to fully catalog everyone who was involved, Rosenstein let them proceed. Now, here's the part you're not going to like about this. Rosenstein's job is not to blatantly or overtly hinder these people from the plots they already had underway. See where I'm going with this? If he's too overt, if he objects too strenuously to what these plotters are bound and determined to accomplish, if he's always coming up with reasons why he can't give them what they're asking him for, they'll start going around him or not even telling him what they're doing. Here's what that means, bluntly stated. While he was getting the goods on the Spygate plotters' massive overall plot to overthrow the Trump presidency in collusion with foreign governments, Rosenstein let their plot against Flynn proceed. I will not sugarcoat this. The good news is there was always 0% chance the truth about what they did to Flynn and Stone and Manafort and Papadopoulos and many others would never come out. I'll emphasize this. Trump and company are in a war for this country. It is a very real war. I'm not exaggerating. And in every war, every general will tell you this. You are forced to make truly awful choices, choices you would rather not make, but that have to be made or you lose the war. This is why you have to be sure you are willing to pay the cost before you even begin fighting the war. Here is the choice the Trump team faced back in November 2017 when it was clear the plotters were indeed going to move to prosecute General Flynn. Do we blow all our Spygate cases right now to save Flynn from this? Or do we hold back for now? It was just revealed a few days ago that DOJ Inspector General Michael E. Horowitz and U.S. Attorney John Durham had these newly unsealed Flynn case documents a long time ago. Why did they not immediately give these documents to the Flynn defense until now? I speak to people every day who understandably have their focus solely on the Flynn case. The Flynn case is all that matters to them, just the Flynn case. So what happened makes absolutely no sense to them. These people are very angry and they are upset, and I do not blame them for what they are feeling. But I'm a big picture guy. The brutal truth is there is far more than just the Flynn case in play here. That's the truth. This is why the DOJ had to wait until releasing these unsealed documents would not compromise the bigger overall prosecution of a massive RICO criminal conspiracy spanning continents. A false statement case comes in second to that. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. When the timing was right, A.G. Barr sent in a special prosecutor to find what he knew he was going to find inside the U.S. Attorney's Office, the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office, the specific exculpatory documents Flynn needed, and he got it to his lawyers. This means this stuff coming out now won't compromise the other cases. It means Durham had no objection to this, which points to his almost being done with his years-long investigation into this massive RICO case. I knew years ago the outcome of this was never in doubt. Other people didn't believe it. That's okay. People are different. Trump says, we caught him. We have it all. Some believe Trump. Many don't. He's a braggart. He's a blowhard. That's what he does. The biggest reason the issue was never in doubt has been staring everybody right in the face from the beginning. But the problem is so many real leaks led to so much fake news about Rod Rosenstein, people can't see it. The nails were in the coffin of the Spygate plot by the time Barr was securely confirmed and in place. So they dropped Rosenstein's mask. There was no reason to keep up the subterfuge. Barr and Sessions gave Rosenstein a Main Hall at Justice full trumpet salute send-off. Yes, he can, and he will. The boss will testify against the people he was supervising when they broke the law. He wasn't really participating in the crimes. He can testify because he was a government informant the whole time. I can't wait to be right. The indictments will come before the election, but the trials themselves won't get underway until next year. So, it'll be a while until Rod Rosenstein is looking at Comey and Strzok and the rest of the goons from the witness stand. This doesn't change the fact that what they did to the general and his family was a horrible crime. But I can tell you this: Trump is not being a blowhard when he says that this will never be allowed to happen again. Historical examples will be made of these people. I constantly have people tweeting at me about DC jury pools and how they think all these plotters will walk in the end. Let me tell you something. A president smart enough to handpick his own undercover informant and run him on the Spygate plotters for almost 3 full years is smart enough to be 3 steps ahead of you. Quit being stupid, okay? The end.